तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्। भूर्भुवस्सुवः तत्सवितुर्वरेण्यं भर्गो देवस्य धीमहि धियो यो नः प्रचोदयात्।
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन,
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन,
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन,
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
बंध विमोचन भवभयभञ्जन,
विमोचन भवभयभञ्जन,
बंध विमोचन भवभयभञ्जन,
विमोचन भवभयभञ्जन,
प्रणवस्वरूपा हे शिवानन्दन,
स्वरूपा हे शिवानन्दन,
प्रणवस्वरूपा हे शिवानन्दन,
स्वरूपा हे शिवानन्दन,
पाहि प्रभो मां पाहि गजानन,
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 लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन,
पार्वती नंदन परमदया घन,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
लंबोदरा जय गजानना,
बंध विमोचन भवभयभञ्जन,
बन्ध विमोचन भवभयभञ्जन,
प्रणवस्वरूपा हे शिवानन्दन,
स्वरूपा हे शिवानन्दन,
पाहि प्रभो मां पाहि गजानन
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 लम्बोदरा जय गजानना నారాయణ మధుసూదన నారాయణ మధుసూదన నారాయణ హే శేషశయన నారాయణ హే శేషశయన నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ సాయి నారాయణ నారాయణ సాయి నారాయణ విఠల నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ విఠల నారాయణ మధుసూదన నారాయణ హే శేషశయన నారాయణ నారాయణ హరి నారాయణ నారాయణ సాయి నారాయణ నారాయణ సాయి నారాయణ విఠల విఠల పాండురంగ విఠల 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 పాండురంగ విఠల 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 పర్తిరంగ విఠల 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 పర్తిరంగ విఠల 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 సాయి రంగ విఠల 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 సాయి రంగ విఠల 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 పాండురంగ విఠల 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 పాండురంగ విఠల 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 పర్తిరంగ విఠల 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 సాయి రంగ విఠల 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 సాయి రంగ విఠల విఠల నారాయణ
साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ साईनाथ भगवान सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान सत्यं शिवं सुन्दरं साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान बुद्धं शरणं गच्छामि धम्मं शरणं गच्छामि संघं शरणं गच्छामि सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि सत्य साई शरणं गच्छामि साईनाथ भगवान साईनाथ भगवान
श्याम सुंदरा मदन गोपाला सच्चिदानंदा साई गोपाला हरि नारायण हरि नारायण हरि नारायण भजरे 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 श्याम सुंदरा मदन गोपाला सच्चिदानंदा साई गोपाला गोपालना गोपी गोपालना गोपी गोपालना भजरे गोपालना
This question comes from Arpan Sen. I have realized from my own dream experiences that the material of my dream is completely borrowed from my real experiences. They are, however, rearranged to build a fresh narrative that plays as my dream reality. The question is, where does my waking reality get its material from, considering there is no higher plane of reality to borrow materials from? Is there any explanation other than Maya or error?
Right. Answer is, where does the waking reality borrow its material? If it doesn't borrow it, it is just your experience of what is out there. See, what Arpan is asking is that when I consider my dream experiences, the people I saw in the dream, the places I visited, the good and bad experiences I had, when I wake up, I can coordinate it with my waking experience and realize it is just the impressions, the memories, the traces of these waking experiences which have been reconstituted by the sleeping mind, the dreaming mind, into my dream experiences. What I experience in the waking life, it leaves memories in the mind, and out of that is constituted my dream experience. Sometimes the fears in the waking world, the anxieties, they're reflected in the dream. Sometimes the desires which are not fulfilled in the waking world are reflected in the dream. Sometimes it's just chatter from the waking world which is reflected in the dream. But where do these experiences of the waking world come from? The answer is simple. Where do you think they come from? From the waking world. Why do they have to be borrowed from another world? See, this is why you consider dream world to be false and the waking to be real. Quite apart from Vedanta, your common sense approach. What do you think about your dreams? Oh, they are dreams. They are not real. What do you think about the waking world? This is real. Not as a philosophical point of view. This is the accepted reality of our lives. We talk, behave in this way that this is real. So you are contacting an external world outside you through your eyes and ears and touch and smell and taste. You're talking with people, interacting with people, having good and bad experiences. That's where you get the experience of waking world. From the waking world, from an external world. Why bring in Maya or error into it? Now at this point, Arpan will be confused. This does not sound like an Advaitin. According to Advaitin, isn't it all like a dream? So the dream world is borrowed from the waking world is also a dream, it must be borrowed from something else. That's what he is pointing towards. Now, first things first, that one must see that Advaita Vedanta is not subjective idealism. Those who are well trained in philosophy will understand. What Arpan is thinking, Advaita Vedanta is subjective idealism in the Berkeleyan sense, in the Buddhist Yogachara Vijnanavada, the mind-only school sense. No. This is one talk I want to do, make a distinction between Advaita Vedanta and the idealistic school of Buddhism, the mind-only school, Chittamatra, or the Vijnanavada, Yogachara Vijnanavada school of Buddhism. The two are different. Shankaracharya devotes a huge amount of effort to distinguishing Advaita from idealistic Buddhism, that is, idealistic in the sense of philosophical sense, Vijnanavada Buddhism. Why? The philosopher Arindam Chakravarti has written a very nice paper, Idealist Refutations of Idealism. How particular idealist schools refute idealism. You would think when the Buddhists say the whole world is in our minds, there is no world outside, you would think Shankaracharya would agree. No. Much better is to treat it like a realist. What is realist? Think about your common sense view of the world. What is your common sense view of the world? I am here, world is out there. It's not in my mind. I am here, there is a world. And I'm contacting a world which is a diverse world, not one existence consciousness bliss. A diverse world of living and non-living things. I'm contacting it with my senses and I'm dealing with it as best as I can. This is a common sense view of life. You can call it a realist view of life. And Advaita Vedanta actually agrees. I'll go deeper into it in some occasion. This is the answer to Arpan's question. Advaita Vedanta does not say that the waking world is a product of my mind. Dream world is a product of dreaming mind. This waking mind, when it falls asleep, it dreams a world. But this waking world is not a product of the mind. Then why does Advaita say the world is false? Advaita says the world is false because the world is an appearance in consciousness. Well, then it comes to the same thing. No, mind and consciousness are not the same thing. There is an individual mind and there is this whole world. Individual mind and body are as real as this world. Both are appearances in one consciousness. This is what Advaita Vedanta is trying to say. Advaita Vedanta is not saying that each of us goes around imagining our own worlds. We do, but that's not the whole of it. From our individual perspective, there is a very solid real world outside. From your real perspective of your real nature, which is Satchidananda, awareness itself, from that perspective, the whole world and this individual are both appearances. The dream example itself, if you follow it carefully, it will become clear. In the dream, suppose you are walking around, talking with friends, sharing a cup of coffee and a cookie. So there is a friend outside, there is a place where you're sitting, there's a table, there's presumably cups of coffee and cookies, and maybe you're talking, maybe you are... So you are seeing things, hearing things, smelling, tasting, drinking. There's you and other people, presumably you have a body. So you are an individual in the dream, and there is a world with which you are interacting in the dream. But both that individual and this world are products of the dreaming mind. That world in the dream is not a product of that dream individual. As the person, follow this carefully, as the person in the dream sitting and interacting with your friend and drinking a cup of coffee and eating a cookie, that person is not dreaming that world. There is an underlying sleeping, dreaming mind which is dreaming up the entire world. Swami Vivekananda said this: one only exists, it appears as nature, soul. One only exists, consciousness. It appears as this world, nature, soul, the subject. What does subjective idealism say? This subject is producing this world. No. Or this subject is imagining this world. No. This is the difference. Idealist refutation of idealism. Why does Professor Arindam Chakravarti delineates the arguments in favor of subjective idealism? Why do some Buddhists and philosophers like Bishop Berkeley, why do they think that this world is only in our minds? And then how Shankaracharya attacks these arguments. People get confused. Why is Shankara attacking the argument? They seem to be in support of his position. No. He's carefully differentiating his position from subjective idealism. And then Professor Chakravarti jumps from Shankaracharya to Immanuel Kant, who does exactly the same thing. He also attacks idealism, though he supports another sort of Vedantic kind of absolutism. So where is the material of the waking world coming from? From the waking world. That's why you consider it to be real. Material of the waking world means, here is this person. In a dream, you might say, if it's a dream, then why did I see this person? Because in my waking world, I must have seen a person, a similar person. In the waking world, why am I seeing that person? Because that person is there. That's why I'm seeing. How is this Advaita? Because I, the seer, and that person seen are both appearances in one consciousness. So why does this confusion arise? Unless we carefully distinguish mind from consciousness and then look at the unlimited nature of consciousness. Until that point, it will keep seeming that this world is a product of my mind. That's not what Advaita says. Okay, one more question, then I'll call upon you.
This question is from Mostro I. Dear Swami Sarvapriyananda, I love and admire you. You have been the biggest, strongest rope with which I pulled myself up from suicide. My family and friends thank you. I thank you beyond any words. I am learning the principles of Advaita Vedanta. Please forgive me if my questions are naive. I have the following questions. How is the Advaita expressed by Sri Nisargadatta Maharaj different, if it is different from that expressed by you and the Ramakrishna order? 2. In our dreams, we can be ourselves, different people, realistic animals, and even imaginary creatures like dragons. By seeing how ephemeral our identities are in dreams, and often in our waking state as well, does that not demonstrate clearly that our identities are mere reflections of universal awareness?
All right. The first question is actually a general and wide question of how Nisargadatta's Advaita differs from the Advaita that we are talking about in the Ramakrishna order. I'll take that up second. I'll take up the second question, which is we see how ephemeral our identities are in the dreams. And then, so aren't these waking identities also equally ephemeral? Aren't they all reflections of universal consciousness?
Universal awareness.
Universal awareness. So why even use such indirect language as reflections of universal awareness? Just say these identities are appearances in universal awareness. Don't even use universal awareness. I mean, what is universal awareness? Is it awareness aware of a universe, or is it an awareness spread over the universe? Just say awareness, unlimited awareness. So what is an identity? That awareness, not knowing its nature, somehow becomes one with a particular body-mind. This mind and this body, which are not awareness, which are objects in awareness, the awareness somehow says that I am this. So two things are required here. One is not knowing its own real nature, unlimited nature. And number 2, becoming aware of mind, body, and saying, I am this much. So this is ajnana, ignorance, and then error, adhyasa, superimposition. Do not know myself, do not know the rope, think it is a snake. Do not know I am unlimited consciousness, I think I am body-mind. Not only think, I firmly believe and act as if I am body-mind. Yes, these identities are ephemeral. Notice, our individual identity can disappear. If there is a little stroke in the brain, then the mind also fails to function properly. Mind requires the brain as hardware. Just as if your hardware in a computer is not working well, your software also will not run well. It will keep crashing, there will be problems. Similarly, our identities get shaken or dissolved or distorted if there is a physical problem in the brain, if there are mental disorders. Our individual identities are very flimsy. Age can affect, senility can affect it. Various diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's can affect it. A stroke can affect it. Mental illnesses can affect our identities. Our identities are very flimsy. Throughout it all, one thing is constant, awareness is constant. If I'm confused about my identity, if I'm suffering from amnesia, identity loss or something, I'm still aware. That awareness does not come and go. So awareness is our real identity, which it is not based on choice. It is not based on accident, not based on body-mind. It is our real identity. Now, the first question is interesting. How does the Advaita which we are speaking about differ from Nisargadatta's Advaita? It doesn't. First of all, the core principle is the same. There is one unlimited awareness, Brahman, in which the entire world is an appearance, and you are Brahman. That's the same. Somebody asked Nisargadatta, who lived, by the way, in a slum in Mumbai. When he became enlightened, he started walking towards the Himalayas. I love this story. He started walking towards the Himalayas. I don't need any of this. I want to live in the mountains for the rest of the life of this particular body. And then he stopped himself. What am I doing? Have I not realized that it's same reality? Whether it is the Himalayas or the slum, both are appearances in one pure Brahman. Then why should I switch this awful slum for the sublime Himalayas? No. And he came back and he lived the rest of his life in that terrible place. This is a sign of enlightenment. You really see the underlying sameness and you base your actions on that. Now, what he did was he stuck to that one central teaching again and again and again in his books. You will find why it seems a little different is because the teachings you find in the English books, I think I Am That is the name of the book probably. I Am That. And other books also have been published. They are originally in Marathi. His talks are in Marathi, and they were translated by his interlocutors into English. So the terminology can sometimes seem a little confusing, little different from classical Advaita Vedanta. But the core message is the same. But how is it different? It is the same as what Nisargadatta Maharaj said and Ramana Maharshi said. It is the same thing. But how is it different then? What we do in the Ramakrishna order is first classical Advaita Vedanta as taught by Shankara and post-Shankara Advaitins, and then broaden it out. One characteristic of the Ramakrishna order, Sri Ramakrishna, Swami Vivekananda, Ma Sharda, and all the other teachers down to our age, is the inclusivity, is the universality of approach. So it is not just non-dualism against dualism. It's not non-dualism of the Advaita variety against all other philosophies, religions, no. From Vivekananda's perspective, or Sri Ramakrishna's perspective, there is one reality, whether it is dualism, Dvaita Vedanta, Vishishta Dvaita Vedanta, qualified monism, or the other schools of Vedanta, including non-dualism, all of them are approaching the same reality, experiencing and trying to express the same reality in different ways. It's like the 5 blind men touching the elephant. So they are all touching the same elephant. One calls it my Narayana, my Vishnu, or my Durga or Kali. Another one says this is Brahman and it's the entirety of the universe. All of it is one reality, one divine reality. I am a tiny part of that. Sun, and I am a tiny ray of the sun. Blazing fire, I am a spark from that blazing fire. This is Upanishadic language. And the other one, the non-dualism, says that not that you are God and I am your worshipper. Not that you are the totality, Brahman is the totality, I am a part of it. Rather, we are one reality. The difference of Brahman and the devotee, or the part and whole relationship, these are appearances. If you see a character in a movie, on the movie screen, is that character in the movie screen different from the movie screen? By different I mean, can the character exist and the movie screen exist separately? No. That character in the movie screen appears on the movie screen. It's an appearance on the movie screen. Can we say, well, the character is that person in the movie is a part of the movie screen? It's not a part of the movie screen. I'll say which part? The top part, bottom part. We switch off the movie, what happened? Did that part will disappear? Will be a big hole in the screen? No. It's not even a part of the screen. It's not different from the screen. It's not a part of the screen. It's not even produced by the screen. It is an appearance. Even more so is this entire universe an appearance in awareness. That's how we all experience the world. Everything is appearing to us, the awareness. In us, the awareness. And if you think deeply about it, there's nothing but us, the awareness. So, this reality, you can approach it non-dualistically. That's what Ramana Maharshi did, that's what Nisargadatta did, and they stopped there and they emphasized this. Notice, being Hindu, they are also very deeply intrusive. So if somebody comes and says, I love to worship my God, my Krishna, I don't understand your Advaita, will Ramana Maharshi say that you are wrong? No, never. He will say, that's also all right. And then he'll try, if possible, from there, try to find out who am I who is worshipping Krishna. If not, fine. You go on worshipping your Krishna, that will also help. So this is the spirit. In principle, same Advaita Vedanta, which is there in the Upanishads, taught by Gaudapada, Shankara, and the post-Shankara Advaitins, down to Ramakrishna, Vivekananda, Nisargadatta, Ramana Maharshi. In principle, it's the same thing. The core idea is the same. Now, some may emphasize the core principle, the transcendent part of it more. Some may emphasize the immanent part of it more. Some may take a much broader, more inclusive, universal approach. That's the only difference.
Om Jai Jagadish Hare Swami Sathya Sai Hare Bhaktagana Samrakshak Bhaktagana Samrakshak Bhakti Maheshwara Om Jai Jagadish Hare Shashi Bhagana Shri Kala Sarva Pranapati Swami Sarva Pranapati Ashrita Kalpaladika Ashrita Kalpaladika Apatandava Om Jai Jagadish Hare Mata Pita Guru Daivam Mariyantayu Neeve Swami Mariyantayu Neeve Nana Brahma Jagannatha Nana Brahma Jagannatha Nagendra Shayana Om Jai Jagadish Hare Omkar Rupa Rudasvi Chari Mahadeva Sathya Sai Mahadeva Mangala Arati Antuko Mangala Arati Antuko Mandara Giridhari Om Jai Jagadish Hare Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadgurudeva Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadgurudeva Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana 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 Om Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Satya Narayana Narayana Om Jai Sadgurudeva Shanti 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 Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu Samasta Loka Sukhino Bhavantu